Oh, and this is how we get down. What's good, everybody? Welcome in. It is a glorious Thursday here at the Brand. Why? Because we get to dominate 2 full hours right here on the Stadium Network, Prime Video, Direct TV, YouTube TV. It's going to be awesome. Over the course of the next 60 minutes, it's all sports. Then at 11 a.m. Eastern time, it is Coach and Bro. More on the schedule coming up in a moment. You're starting to feel like there is a lull going on in the NBA because we can't predict anything right now. Players are getting bounced out halfway through the day. They're not showing up. They're not scoring. It happens in January. So we're going to back off a little bit on NBA, and thank goodness that we have the college football playoff tonight. 2 items in our news of the day. Lane Kiffin continues to be petty. More on that coming up. And also, college football playoff game number 1 tonight. The team that nobody said should be in. Well, they're in, and they are a favorite tonight over Ole Miss, who are now the baby faces of college football. More on that game coming up in about 30 minutes. Now, our schedule today, it's always super busy. I mentioned coming up at 11 a.m. Eastern time, the Coach and Bro Show. There is a ton of pro wrestling news out there. Then at 2 o'clock Eastern time on Sirius XM, Channel 156, Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7. Your boy, and I got to tell you, I think Chelsea Green is going to be one of our guests today. So that's going to be super exciting. I encourage you to subscribe to both of our YouTube channels. There's a ton of content, a ton of evergreen content. We want you to consume all of it. Turn on your notifications. All right. That's all the housekeeping I can do because today's a big day. You don't know what's going to happen tonight. And that's the beauty of the college football playoffs. So, without further ado, oh yes, my company's here. It's time. Let's beat the books. All right, and look at my guys today. Exactly the team that I wanted on this Thursday as Miami takes on Ole Miss tonight. And DG, let me come over to you live from Memphis, Tennessee. You have to wait until tomorrow. But there was some other news coming out that Mark Cuban wrote a big check to your squad. Do you have any clue how much the money was?
Good morning, Coach. I have no idea what the money is because I don't think we're going to get the exact amount. But everybody wants a little bit of Indiana Hoosiers right now, even Mark Cuban.
Yes. Well, he did say, quote, I think they're going to be a little bit happier this year than they were last year. Now, speaking of happy, sometimes as the leader of this brand, I have to, teach lessons, put a fork in it, run to the center court, if you will, to prove once again that you are the brand. And one of us is from Kansas, Jayhawk. One of us is from TCU. And the other night, one of the great comebacks in the history of Allen Fieldhouse. So, young Peyton, do you have anything to say about your young guard who decided to foul 40 feet away from the bucket on a 3-point play that ended up being 3 free throws to go to overtime and then lose? Floor is yours.
Yeah, morning to you, Coach. So TCU, yeah, I wouldn't even call that a great comeback. I'm just calling that a horrendous choke job. I mean, what was that? Down or up 9 points with 60 seconds left. That's ridiculous. I just can't understand what was going on with TCU the other night, and it was just awful to watch. I was really upset. They had just a golden opportunity to start the season off on the road at Kansas with a huge Big 12 upset and just absolutely choked. Really upset.
I couldn't believe it. And both teams got into the you know when you're betting and you bet the over and you're about 15 or 20 points below the number and you dream about having 3 2 free throws. We all do that. That actually happened, I think, 5 times in the last 60 seconds. They scored like 25 points in the last minute. Absolutely banana land. It really was. But you'll get it back. Don't worry about it. You'll get it back. Don't worry about it. Now, this man has been very busy. He is our numbers guy for a reason. Say good morning to our man who is residing in the Big Easy, where all of the petty news is coming right now, Rafael Esparza. Good morning, Rafael.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, family. It's a great Thursday because we have college football Thursday. I actually missed Monday Night Football. There was no football Monday, but I'm excited for Thursday football.
There will be Monday football this week. There will be the Texans and the Steelers. Now, are we going to do the Monday night grind? We'll have to decide. Probably will. All right, gentlemen, you know it's a big 2 hours. You know we dominate stadium. We say everybody else, sit to the side while the men come through. So I ask you one very simple question. That's what I thought. DG, my guy, best bets. Start us off.
Everybody's scared of the NBA but me. I'm going Pacers and the Hornets. We're going to go in the first half. So we're not going to get trickier with this one. We're going over 112.5 at minus 110. The number's just way too low at 112.5. The model has it at 120. They scored 124 combined points in the first half back in November when they played. I expect this to be fast-paced, and they're going to go over this number. Well, let's go to an under here, and I love unders in the first half. Heat and the Bulls. Both these teams are meh. So I'm going to go under the 124.5 at minus 115. The model has it around 121. The Bulls are on a back-to-back. And both of these teams, they had a score of the Miami 70, Bulls 52, combined for 122 points, 70 to 52, and they still couldn't go over this number. They go under again.
I'm glad you're not scared because right now, me and the Hornets have a very difficult, conflicting relationship because when we start touting them here on the show, Rafael, what did they do to me and you all at the same time?
I don't want to say the word of what they did to us, but an NBA game and not one of them scores 100 points. That was just depressing.
It really was. Let's make up for it today. Rafael, you're up.
We're going to Thursday college football, the Fiesta Bowl. Give me Ole Miss team total over 23.5. Every game Ole Miss has played this year, they have scored this number. I think offense is going to be very key for Ole Miss because we all know about Miami's defense, but their offense is going to be the reason why they win this game, and they're going to score over 23.5. Ole Miss ain't afraid of Miami's defense. I like Ole Miss to win and the team total over. Going to college hoops because I am scared of the NBA right now. I'm going to take Long Beach State and UC Irvine over 142. The Anteaters are averaging 87 points per game, and they're 11 wins so far this year. I think they're going to put the tempo up. High-paced game. Long Beach State's defense cannot control that tempo. They have 8 games, or their last 10 games, Long Beach State's 8 of them have gone over the total. High-scoring game. This total will probably close around 144, so grab the number now.
I couldn't believe when I moved out here because I live right in the middle of this like 30-mile radius of all these smaller Division I basketball teams. There is so much good basketball, Rafael, around where you could go on any night and find a really good game like that. Like UC Irvine's about 8 miles from where I'm sitting right now. It's awesome. It's awesome. And
Big West is going to probably shock some people in the tournament, or
so?
I can't wait to watch these teams in the tournament.
Interesting. I might have to go to like a conference tournament or something. There's also a point guard. I think I've told you guys about this. His dad coaches at my kid's school. He's a head basketball coach. He goes to Mater Dei, and he's already signed with Kansas for next year. So, Peyton, you might see him against TCU next year, potentially. All right. I'm going to go next. I'm going to let Peyton sit on that one for a second. Rafael, I see your team total, and I'm going to raise you a game total, but not the game total that you're thinking about. So everybody say it with me. Me and Rafael have a little bit of synergy.
Eat.
It's getting better, actually. I'm going to start with the first quarter over. I don't believe that Miami's defense is going to play like they did in the first 2 games in this playoffs. I just don't believe it. This is a team that during the regular season, they had a lot of games that had a lot of points and a lot of yards, and this Ole Miss offense is very, very good. So I think this game starts off fast. First quarter over 10.5 points. Now, this next one is kind of interesting. I like Miami and Ole Miss to go over 6.5 touchdowns. That means that 28-21 would get the job done. Remember, Ole Miss against a Georgia team that had held 4 straight opponents to 10 points or less scored 39. I think tonight could turn into a shootout. I think it's going to be super fun. I think Charlie Weiss, on his way out the door, is going to call a very wide open game, which will mean Miami will have to do the same. And they have a very good quarterback in Beck as well. So I think this one gets to 7 touchdowns and more. All right, my guy, Peyton, bring it home.
Yeah, I know Carson Beck is the more experienced quarterback, and Miami's defense is good, but I'm going with the more talented quarterback in Trinidad Chambliss. Kejuan Lacey's been so good this year. Miami's defense has been great, but I think Trinidad Chambliss extends plays like he's been doing better than anyone, and he makes the right plays. I like Ole Miss tonight on the money line. And this is a matchup you might only bet when it comes to football, Ohio State and Oregon. But no, this one is on the hardwood tonight, and I got the Buckeyes. The Oregon Ducks stink right now. Their point guard, Jackson Shellstad, is the NCAA version of Ja Morant because you never know when he's going to play. And he hasn't been 100% in any of the games that he has played in. But Ohio State's played 3 top teams or top 10 teams, really competed, lost 2 of the 3 games to Illinois and North Carolina, each by 1 possession. They've been a lot more battle-tested than Oregon thus far into the season. I got the Buckeyes tonight on the money line.
By the way, we're going to be talking about that Ole Miss game coming up in about 20 minutes or so from right now. Now, speaking of Division I men's basketball, can anybody tell me how many undefeated teams there are left, well, let's say in the top 25? Anyone? 2?
Nope. 0.
I think it's 4.
Yeah, Vanderbilt and Arizona.
0, 2. You know what? 5. There are 5. There's 3 at the top: Arizona, Michigan, Iowa State, and then you have Nebraska.
Yeah.
And then Vanderbilt, who laid out
Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's number 11.
Forgot about Vanderbilt.
That's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. I think this is going to be a really fun March Madness. You're seeing a lot of teams that normally aren't up there. I'm looking at BYU, Nebraska, Vanderbilt. Duke is all the way down at number 6. This is going to be fun. Iowa State normally isn't a top 5 team. They are now. It's going to be super, super, super exciting. Gentlemen, well done. We're going to have a really good day today when it comes to our picks because I believe that the college football gods are going to be on our side. Now, you guys also know that I'm a big MMA guy. I like fighting. And as I lead this brand, many of you have looked at me not just as a talent, but as a movie star. Somebody who belongs on the big screen. Somebody that when you're thinking about Tinseltown, you got The Rock on one side, the coach on the other. Sort of. And today, my very first motion picture, or TV movie, as it were, comes out. We like to call it The Hands. If you don't know what it is, here's the coach right now. Please welcome Carter Williams.
Another bloody nose.
Hey, that's a fighter's life.
It's game time.
You know he'd lose his hands if he didn't have me to hold them.
I need Carter to take a fall in the finals.
It's not happening.
You don't think I could take this guy?
He's not human. They're trying to kill you. Carter!
We need help. Come on, somebody.
Somebody call an ambulance!
Hurting her is not going to bring him back.
I'm gonna fight for myself. See you soon.
I can't wait.
She's got the best hands in the business. That's why she's in there.
Premieres tonight. AMC is going to be all over the place. DG, a little jealous you weren't in there with Rampage Jackson.
Yeah, Memphis native coach Rampage, Quentin Rampage Jackson. Yeah, I was missing out. I'm very jealous of what you got there.
It was a late night shoot, but it's super proud of it. I didn't even know if it was going to come out, to be honest with you, but it is, and we're really, really happy about it. Gentlemen, we continue on here on our YouTube page. Jim Harbaugh came out yesterday, and he supports his brother, who got fired after 18 seasons in Baltimore. But he says, Raphael, that he hopes that his brother John lands in the NFC. What do you think he meant by that?
New York Giants. I'm sure that's what he means, because let's face it, it's the best team that's out there. It has a great young quarterback, a good young running back. Defense is also young. They got a lot of draft picks. I believe, in my eyes, that's the best team that has the opening job.
I really do too. Peyton, let me come over to you, because I think certain teams, you like young coaches who prove themselves, but I think sometimes franchises need a veteran, and it seems like Harbaugh or bust should be the guy.
Yeah, and I'm not going to compare Jackson Dart to Lamar Jackson, but kind of a similar playing style, extending plays, running around everywhere. He doesn't have to change too much if John Harbaugh went over to the Giants. That'd be pretty cool, but he's one of the best coaches in football. You win just one Super Bowl with a team, but it means something if you stay the same place for 18 years. A great coach and an even better guy. I'm pretty upset that the Ravens let him go.
Yeah, I know you're a Ravens guy for sure. Sometimes we don't realize how much DG this takes out of a coach. We haven't even looked at the fact, do you think John Harbaugh wants to coach next year?
I think he does, and I think there's some good opportunities. But if he didn't, it's because he's wanting to pick and choose his favorite position or favorite team. I would look for him to go to Atlanta Falcons. You got Bijan Robinson there, Michael Penix Jr. You also have a good nucleus of pass catchers. So I would go to Atlanta if it was me.
I saw one of those dirt sheets, as I call them, put out that Bill Belichick is trying to get out of North Carolina to go to Atlanta. I don't believe there's anything to the report, but when you think about it, that would also make sense. I don't think Bill liked coaching college this year. All right, it's time for a little front page news. We are back live in just 5 seconds. All right, welcome back, everybody. We got a bunch of front page news items today coming up in about 15 minutes or so. We're going to break down game number 1 in the college football playoffs tonight, Miami and Ole Miss. Now, along those lines, Peyton, I'm going to start with you, because Lane Kiffin just can't seem to get out of his own way. It feels like now he's getting in his feelings. It feels like now he's getting very, very petty. Now, Jimbo Fisher was on the SEC network or something yesterday, and he brought up a very, very good point. When you allow these Ole Miss coaches who are going to LSU to coach in one game, you've got to let them finish the job, unlike what he did. But now reports are only 2 coaches are being allowed to coach tonight, and everybody else got called back to LSU. I'm assuming it was kind of come, or you can go look for a different job. What do you make of this report?
Yeah, today we saw the wide receiver and tight end coach going to come back with him. I'm not sure how much a wide receiver and tight end coach are going to matter on game day. I'm sure these guys have important roles on the team, but they're not calling the plays. And as of now, Charlie Weiss is still allowed to coach for Ole Miss. And who knows, maybe Lane Kiffin takes Charlie Weiss before kickoff. But that would be fun if Pete Golding went to the championship and has to coach it all by himself. That'd be pretty exciting.
You know, DG, when you look at this, I don't know if Lane Kiffin lives in a bubble. I don't know if his ego is so fragile, but he's been tweeting nonstop during these Ole Miss games as if he's supporting them. And then to do this, it doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't make sense. And that's the whole thing about Lane Kiffin. A lot of what he does doesn't make sense. And that's what we're seeing right now is he's being very petty into the fact of bringing back some of these coaches. But in all honesty, I think Ole Miss is going to be fine. They do have their offensive coordinator, which is the biggest key to all of this. The other guys are going to be missed, but not necessarily, only on the sidelines in between maybe the series when they're having to coach up their players. But besides that, the head coach is most important, and then the offensive coordinator.
I would love to know, Raphael, what the coaches actually think about this, because they're the ones getting the back and forth. But when I wrote the question down, I thought to myself, you know what? They could have stayed at Ole Miss and not had to deal with this at all, and they chose not to do that. Your take.
Yeah, the coaches is different, but I would love to know what the players think, because what the players are doing on the field, they know that Lane is tweeting all the time, and they're showing him, you know what, we don't need you. We don't even need these coaches who jump ship to join you. The players are the reason why they're here. The players are going to be the reason why they win tonight, and the players are going to be the reason why they could host a chip in the next couple of weeks.
Boy, can you imagine what that video will look like if they raise the trophy, if they win it all? A lot of me wants to see that. I know you don't, DG, because I do. I think a lot of people do. They love Indiana. That's a great story. But, man, this would be one of the all-timers. One of the all-timers. Now, topic number 2, and this one has kind of taken on a life of its own. I'm going to throw a name out at you guys. Cordell Landers. Most people will not know who that is. Well, that is the guy who advised as a close family friend of Nico. The quarterback who walked out on Tennessee took what he thought was going to be $4 million. Turned out to be about $2 million. And then they had a horrendous season for the Bruins. He now has come out as advising DeMond Williams, the young quarterback from Washington who signed a deal with the school, Peyton, for $5 million. Are we serious right now? And then 3 days later, he's leaving, going into the transfer portal, saying, I got to do what's best for me and my family. What do you make of these little nuggets and stuff that's being added to the story?
It's ridiculous. So what's best for me and first off, what's best for me and my family sounds like something that a professional NFL player for the last 5 years or who's been in the league would say, not a college guy who's saying, oh, yeah, we have to do a better signing with somebody else. What's better than a $5 million signing from a school? I mean, it's ridiculous. How much scholarship money could you get? My dad would be going nuts right now. He's you. But no, that's just insane right now. DeMond Williams is acting like he's like the Heisman candidate right now. He's just not.
I'm trying to figure out when they're sitting in these rooms, like the Lane Kiffin situation, that recording comes out that literally he had decided weeks before that he was going to go to LSU. Nobody's talking about that one, by the way. And DG, now you've got a young kid who 5 years ago, NIL money didn't even exist. And now you get $5 million. He could have been the ultimate baby face. And now he's going to get sued. He has to get lawyers, not to mention where's he going to go? What team is going to want to bring him in?
Right. Well, you got to think of LSU as the team that they want to bring him in because that is Lane Kiffin's style. But if I look at this situation, this is the very beginning of contracts. We're going to see contracts actually being signed by these guys where there's going to be ironclad. Whatever you do, if you sign this contract, we will give you that money, but you're not allowed to back out of it. I think this is the start, the very beginning of when we see contracts here in the NCAA.
It's idiocy. He signed a contract 3 days before. What did he think was going to happen, Raphael? What did he actually think? Or you got to believe he has a team around him. What did they think? That Washington was just going to say, yeah, cool, walk out, because they're not going after anybody else because they thought we have our guy.
Yeah, I know Williams has some to blame, but it's the voices in his ear that I'm going to put all the blame. Just people just telling him, hey, you know what? Yeah, you got $5 million, but there's an extra $2 million in Baton Rouge. I just think it's the people in his ears, including his parents, are probably telling him just bad advice, and you can't say no to mom and dad.
Horrible, horrible, horrible advice and judgment. Speaking of judgment, topic number 3. Now, I also at one point in my career worked for a now 80-year-old billionaire. And there were times where people said that Vince McMahon was a little bit crazy, a little bit delusional, a lot of those words, but maybe not as delusional as this 83-year-old billionaire. Peyton, Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, came out yesterday. I don't know if it was a radio show, podcast, whatever. Doesn't matter. He said it, that he would like to retire. And I don't know if that means retire from life or just from the NFL. But either way, with the most Super Bowls as an owner in the history of the NFL. It's been 30 years since he won one, over 30. He has 3. The problem with this statement is that Robert Kraft has 6. What do you make of Jerry Jones and his Delulu?
Well, the problem is that The Cowboys suck. And if this is the case, he'll be the owner of the Cowboys at 150 years old because the Cowboys aren't winning anything anytime soon. They're terrible. Dak will not be winning you much. And you just gave away Micah Parsons this year, so your defense actually got worse and you backtracked a year. The defense needs a rebuild. The whole organization needs a rebuild. I don't think the Cowboys win anything anytime soon.
Forget about the gimmick infringement from young Peyton, DG. Let me come over to you. Your take.
Yeah, when I look at this guy, I think of sad, but I also think of scared because, in my honest opinion, like when you see older people and they get older and they start aging, they have to keep their mind sharp because if not, they're scared that honestly they're going to go downhill. When you look at Jerry Jones, the reason he's saying all this, the reason he's wanting this to all be true is because he's scared of giving up the control to his son, Steven, or anybody else within the organization. He's scared. He wants to stay on the head of the table there of Roman Reigns style, and he wants to make sure he is the guy who's calling the shots so he can be in the lore of Dallas Cowboys forever.
No doubt. And at the end of the day, he wants everybody to acknowledge him. No doubt about it. Raphael, let me come over to you because Jerry Jones, if he really wants to win, this is where he's delusional. He would then take a step back instead of staying out front because if I do something for 30 years and it's not successful, guess what I'm going to do? Bring somebody in that maybe can be successful.
Yeah, even if you brought your son in, you're still going to be the guy that's probably much, playing puppet to your son. So you would still get credit if you won a Super Bowl. But yeah, he's just delusional. And DG's right. Listening to him talk, it's almost like listening to my dad talk, who's just at the same age. They're afraid to give up stuff to the youth of like either me or my sister. It's actually sad when I hear about Jerry Jones talking.
It really is. Topic number 4, and guys, we got about 2 minutes left on this one. DG, I'm going to start with you because you're my NBA guy. This resting stuff, unless you're over 40, I'm not going to give you a pass. But stop with the headlines. LeBron James damn near had a 30-point triple-double 2 nights ago against the Pelicans. Then last night against the Spurs, who are the number 2 seed, they're the 3 seed. It comes out that he's sitting out because of multiple injuries. Explain to me how you create multiple injuries in less than 24 hours after scoring 30.
Well, all of these guys, especially a 40-plus-year-old guy in the NBA with all these miles on his feet, you have to know, like, they're all hurting. There's all issues everywhere, and so it's not easy to go and look for an injury to put up there. But the one thing I want to point at LeBron is you decided to play against the Pelicans, but it was time, which you knew you weren't playing on a back-to-back no matter what. You chose to go the other way because you're scared of the Spurs and you're scared of Victor. He's your daddy. He's everybody's daddy right now. And so that's what I look at. He's just scared of playing a good team.
That is such a great point. Peyton, your take.
I agree with DG, but he did have 38-8 at 41 years old in the NBA, which is pretty ridiculous, even against the Pelicans. So I'm okay with him having to sit out for a night because there's plenty of guys in their late 20s sitting out for load management and taking nights off. So if 41-year-old LeBron wants to do that, I think the Lakers are okay with it.
And I think a lot of us are used to it. I just don't like the headline. Multiple injuries. He didn't get hurt. He was laughing, high-fiving Raphael. Everything was good when they beat the Pelicans. So at least limp off the court. Drag your right leg behind you. Do something.
The multiple injuries is because the locker room interview. When he said, anytime I play back-to-back, I'm going to be DNP the next day. And if he didn't play without saying injuries, the Lakers would have been fined.
They do get fined now, don't they? If there's like a miscommunication or so I think they almost have to say it now. But to Peyton's point, he did score 38-8. He had a couple of dunks that he went back like 10 years. It seemed like, right? Yeah, he had a little LeBron-esque. It was pretty cool. I just hope that I would rather him sit last night and have a great playoffs because remember what happened last year in the playoffs, guys. He fell off a cliff. Like his body just shut down, and it was like whimpering to the finish line. All right, we're only halfway home of hour number 1 here on the Stadium Network. Oh, by the way, we just saw the numbers, and thanks to all of you, we had our second biggest month ever on Stadium. So we're ready to fire into 2026. Coming up next, we break down college football playoff semi number 1, Coach and Company on Stadium. Let's go. All right, gentlemen, no, I haven't been invited yet, But Tiger Woods announced that on January 14th, he's going to throw himself a 50th birthday party. The dress code, shockingly, red. Bon Jovi will perform. Awesome. 300 guests will show up. DG, if there was an athlete that you would want to get an invitation to their birthday party, male or female, don't care, who would it be?
So my all-time favorite athlete is Cal Ripken Jr., but he's a little aging, is a little above me. We're probably just going to sit around and have a cigar. That's not going to be fun. But I do want to come my age, and it's Chipper Jones, and that might surprise you. But, man, give me a tall whiskey, and let's go ahead and hang out in the backyard. That's my style.
Every time I think of Chipper Jones, I think overachieved in marriage. Peyton, what about you?
I think I'd go with Derek Jeter, not because he was my favorite player or anything, but just because of the guest list that would be showing up. I mean, my name would be on the same list as all those supermodels he dated 20 years ago, and Sloopy would be my +1, right? We'd be out there popping bottles with everybody. Aaron Judge, Tom Brady would probably show up. I feel like the guest list would be awesome at Derek Jeter's party.
I actually, what's funny is I actually did go to a Derek Jeter birthday party years ago. It was at, this is true story, look it up. WWF New York. He was he had a vodka company that he was endorsing. It was the night of the NBA draft in New York City. All the Yankees were there. They had an afternoon game, off day on Thursday. It was amazing. And I don't want to use the word. Well, I was spoken to by, you guys remember Star Jones on The View years ago? You might be a little bit young, DG. Certainly you, Peyton. But, you know, there was a lot of celebrities, let's say, in the house. Derek, you could pay $150 extra to drink with Derek. And all he did, I kid you not, is he came in the back door. They walked him through the VIP room. He grabbed a drink, never stopped walking. They took him through the kitchen and right back to the dressing rooms in the back. And everybody that had paid the extra $150, they were pissed. They were pissed. But I was kicking it with them in the back, so it was all good for me. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The good old days. We're back live in 5 seconds. We are having a good time. Welcome back. We're halfway home. If you're watching us live in the East, it's 10:32. Out here in the West, it is 7:32. We are live on the Stadium Network. Do not forget, coming up at the top of the hour, it is the Coach and Bro Show. So you don't have to even turn the channel at all, even one up or one down. All right, gentlemen, tonight's a big, big night. And I don't know if a few weeks ago when they announced the 12 teams that anybody could have predicted the 4 teams we have left. Certainly, I don't think anybody would have predicted tonight's game. When Miami got in, and they didn't even make it to their conference championship game, there was all the ruckus. And DG, I'm going to start with you. It was, Notre Dame this, Vanderbilt that, Texas this, but it was certainly not Miami. And then somehow their defenses showed up against Texas A&M, against Ohio State. And so now because of those performances, somehow they are a 3.5-point favorite over an Ole Miss team that just laid 39 on the Georgia Bulldogs. Start us off right here. How are you handicapping this game?
Yeah, you said it right, Coach. Like, the Miami defense showed up, and that they've been showing out the last 2 games, allowing 17 total points in the first 2 games of the playoffs. And so I look at this game. There's an Ole Miss team that's sexy. Like, everybody likes them. Everybody wants to cheer for them, and it's all about Chambliss. And so I look at the Miami defense. Can they keep Chambliss in check? And if they can, and I think they will from running, I think that there's going to be a flip to this game, and that's why I see a touchdown win by Miami.
Now, speaking of Chambliss, there's going to be a lot of storylines. There's going to be a 2-hour pregame tonight. But think about this, Peyton. All these stories that went around yesterday about the waivers that they're trying to get. A few weeks ago, it was a slam dunk that Chambliss would get a 6th year. He just signed a deal to come back to Ole Miss for a 6th year. The problem is he's not guaranteed of a 6th year. So if he goes into the game tonight, do you think maybe, because he's played great, that he may want to show out a little bit more to show the NFL scouts exactly what he can do? Because there's a very good possibility he might have to go to the NFL draft.
No, of course he wants to show out, and he did it against Georgia. And that Miami defense has been great, but Trinidad Chambliss has just been making some ridiculous plays. What he did against Georgia in that last series was ridiculous. When he ran out of the Skycam frame, flicking passes for first downs, it's insane what he has been able to do against the Georgia Bulldogs defense. And he's really been doing this all year with his running ability, and he's had little spurts where he's shown it off. But he'll be the reason Ole Miss wins this game because their defense isn't going to win it for sure. All the Ole Miss games has been really high scoring. I think Trinidad Chambliss just outplays Carson Beck tonight, and Ole Miss wins in a high scoring game.
Yeah, one of the places that he could end up if he goes to the NFL certainly would be the Miami Dolphins, as Tua wants to get out of Dodge. We've got some breaking news coming in to BTT Studios. DG, what are you hearing? What's happening with the Dolphins?
Looks like Mike McDaniel from the Dolphins coach is out. And so I would assume at that point they're going to look at targeting Harbaugh.
You would think so, right? You would think so. I don't think Harbaugh wants to go anywhere west. So all of these East Coast teams, Miami, Atlanta, New York, it does seem like the right fit. And every time that they fire a coach, a team fires a coach, it just, I would assume, Raphael, that his odds just get higher and higher and higher that he will coach next year.
Yeah, I guess I know what I'm doing after the show, doing who's going to be coaching the Dolphins. Thank you to Miami. I'm going to jump on this game right here. I'm going to do it on a number point of view just because I got some information when you guys were talking. Books are telling me this total will move to 53 and higher. So if you like Miami, you think this number would probably go under. If you think the Miami Hurricanes going to win, you need an under game. Books also told me there's no more 3.5. They're going to see 3 sometime by noon today. If you like Ole Miss, grab the 3.5 right now because it's probably going to close -3, and they'll just move the juice around all day. -3 nickels, -3, -120. Grab the +3.5 if you like Ole Miss now.
It's interesting, guys, when you think about this game and how college football, when it comes to odds, can be swayed by emotion, can be swayed by, well, a lot of people want to see them win. DG, you could argue that outside of Florida, there are 49 states that want to see Ole Miss win. So usually in towns or cities where the team resides, the old days, the bookies, they would take all the heavy action on one side. I'm guessing that a lot of people are going to bet maybe just a little bit with their heart because they want to see Ole Miss finish this story just to rub it into Lane, no?
Everybody likes a little drama. Everybody likes a little chaos. But when I look at this, yes, I think 49 states are going to be, cheering for Ole Miss. But I know at least 40 people, just myself, and I don't really know, but like 45. So 40 of those people are going to this game. And so at that point, they've all been traveling. They're all going to be there. I think there's going to be a raucous crowd there for Ole Miss. And I think it's going to overtake any Miami fans that actually might be there.
Did you just say that 40 people are traveling there? What 40?
I know 40 certain friends.
Oh, you know 40. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't hear that. I did see a bunch of videos of some Barstool guys that have flown down there, and I feel like we're creating our own Barstool here in a way. Young Peyton, it's funny because I saw one of those Barstool guys was on the phone with one of the media guys, and he got 4 sideline passes. 10 years ago, that never would have happened. But I believe the media and the people covering this game, they do want Ole Miss to win. But think about this from a traveling standpoint. DG brings up a good point, that when you're asked to play 4 games and 3 of them are away from home, that's a lot of money when you're talking tickets, airplane, hotel, to go to 3 different cities in basically 4 weeks. So I wonder how much of the local crowd that has tickets will be on the side of Ole Miss.
Yeah, this is like Damon Williams money we're talking here. This is crazy. But I mean, seriously, to think about all this money that we're talking about with college players, all this other money, the extracurricular money that you're talking about, Coach, it doesn't even really mean anything at this point. All this stuff, tickets, players, it all makes up for it. And the storyline is going to be great, but I just think Ole Miss has the better players tonight. I think they win the game. I know Mark Fletcher for Miami's been great, and they have some really good star players in Miami, but Ole Miss kind of goes receiver by committee. I think they win this game because Trinidad Chambliss finds a lot of them tonight.
And I wonder how healthy Kewan Lacey is going to be. He has that shoulder issue that he played through in the last game. But the announcers kept talking about how serious that injury was. Raphael, let's talk props for a second. Because most of the time during the regular season, you don't play props in college football. But when you get to the postseason, a lot of books will have them. Do you think there's any value in passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, any of those?
Jameis rushing and throwing yards is one of the most popular one, but the biggest prop bet people are betting, Beck to throw an interception. Beck has been really, really good, but people are waiting for that Beck game, and I think this is the game that he's going to show out and throw an interception. But I'm going to jump back about who's rooting for this one. Don't forget, the Big Ten country, they don't want to see an SEC team in a national championship. I think Big Ten country will want to see Miami play and not have an SEC team in a national championship.
Interesting. That's very petty as well. So let's hit on that for a second, DG. Who do you think, and you can hit on either one, Miami or Ole Miss, they would rather see in the national championship game?
I think you have to look at Ole Miss, and I know that they have the offense that has the firepower, but honestly, their defense is shredded lettuce at this point. So you got to look at how you can go through that defense and how you can score on them. And I think at either side, whether it's Oregon or Indiana, I think they'd rather play Ole Miss. It's an easier offensive game for them.
That's an interesting point. That's a really good take. I didn't even think about it from that standpoint. There is 10 days, so the national championship, Peyton, is going to be Monday, January 19th. Make sure I have that date right. Yeah, Monday, January 19th. Either way you're looking at it, who is the best matchup?
I think I think the best matchup will be Indiana Ole Miss, but I think both Oregon and Indiana prefer to play Ole Miss as well, just because Ole Miss is such an offensive heavy team. Oregon, Indiana, two teams that really rely on their offenses. Indiana doesn't make any mistakes on either side of the ball. It's pretty incredible, but both teams are really heavily dependent on their offense. I think they'd rather play an Ole Miss team and try to keep up with them offensively than face a pretty tough, hard-nosed defense in Miami.
We know, Raphael, that Indiana beat Oregon by 10 in the regular season. What will the line be? Let's assume Indiana wins. They're the number one seed. What would the line be for a Miami matchup or an Ole Miss matchup?
If it's Indiana Ole Miss, we're getting ready to probably post anywhere between 5 and 5.5, just because of what DG said. That defense of Ole Miss, I think Indiana has a field day. If it's Miami and Indiana, we're probably looking at a solid 3, maybe even 2.5, because defense versus offense is what people want to see. But prediction markets and books are both telling me whoever wins the Indiana-Oregon game will be the national championship.
Very, very interesting. I've been noticing the prediction market, Raphael, is becoming more and more popular. And there's just a lot more people that are using those instead of sports books. If only we would get into the predictive market. Don't you think it'd be a lot of fun?
I think it'd be a lot of fun, especially for me.
Yeah, especially for you. You'd be very, very important. All right, gentlemen, we got about 90 seconds left. DG, I know we have bets all over the place for this game. Give me your narrative on how do you think this game plays out tonight?
I think it's going to be a little bit of an under here. I know everybody likes the over, but I just don't see these Miami games going over. I think this could be closer to a 24-17 win for Miami.
Peyton?
34-28 Ole Miss. Beck has a shot on the last drive of the game. Oh, he threw a pick right over the middle, and Miami loses. Ole Miss wins.
Raphael.
I am so torn because I do not want to see an SEC team in there, but I love storylines and chaos. I have Ole Miss winning 34-20.
We have 2 Big Ten teams left. We've got an ACC team left and an SEC team left. The bottom line is this. This is all we could have wanted. When you start with the 12 teams, this is all we could have wanted, was all of this discussion, all of these different things, and then going out and playing tonight, and also knowing that somewhere in Baton Rouge, there will be a head coach watching and never admitting that he's pissed that he left, at least for right now. Still to come on the other side, it's time to take a look at the NBA. Only 4 games tonight. Trae Young involved in a big-time trade. Does it make sense? This is Coach and Company live, as always, right here on Stadium. All right, we continue on our YouTube page. Gentlemen, we just found out after a 7-10 season that Mike McDaniel has been fired in Miami. We also found out, DG, that Tua said after the game on Sunday that a fresh start would be, quote, dope. Now that the quarterback one's out and the head coach is out, what does the future look like in Miami?
They have a lot of good pieces, but I think you have to look at, what you go for as a coach. And we're looking at defensive minded, in my opinion, because that's really where you win the championships. That's where you win the games. And so I think Tua's fine. He's not great. What he's getting paid is way over too much. But at that point, they have a lot of good offensive weapons where they'll be okay.
And that's the problem, Peyton, is that he makes so much money. Like, I think it's $50 million a year, something like that. He's going to be a very, very hard piece to trade. I think the only option is you drop him, take the dead money, and move on if you want to get rid of him.
You're going to have to. And yeah, he just makes way too much money for someone who can't run anymore. And you know what? He's actually just scared of running as well. Who wants that? Of a quarterback to scramble out of the pocket and you as the head coach, you're holding your breath, hoping he doesn't get hit. You don't want that. It's a bad feeling if your QB is out of the pocket running around and you're scared.
And Raphael, for somebody like you, this now throws a lot of whatever you want to call it, a lot of bumps in the road for you. Let's say that, because now you've got a head coach that you've got to work on with odds, and then whoever that head coach is going to be is probably going to want to pick his own quarterback. Your take?
Yeah, my mind is going crazy right now because I have Stefanski probably going to be the favorite for the Dolphins head coach because I still think Harbaugh is going to look at his jobs and say, hey, you know what? The Giants' job is better than the Dolphins' job. So I still think that's where he goes. But I think Stefanski would be a good fit in Miami.
Man, I guess I didn't realize until the last couple of days just how revered Stefanski is and just how bad the ownership is in Cleveland. Somebody see Deshaun Watson. All right, gentlemen, it's time to talk NBA and lock it in. We are back live on Stadium in just 5 seconds. All right, welcome back, everybody. Coach and Company here on Stadium. I am the coach. Time to talk a little bit of NBA. DG, I want to start with you because we heard rumblings that Atlanta was trying to find a dance partner to get rid of Trae Young. They have. He's been traded for C.J. McCollum. But my question to you is this. He was such a great scorer. He was awesome at Oklahoma in college. Everything that you would want. But he is small. Defense is not even an option for him. Is he really a team leader or is he just a ticket seller?
I think he's the ticket seller. And if you look at Washington, why did they go get him? Well, they're one of the lowest teams in attendance. And so why not go ahead and fill it up with some excitement more than you're getting with C.J. McCollum? But also, if you're Trae Young, you've won out of Atlanta because you're not going to get that extension that you're looking for. And more than likely, with all that cap money, you're going to get that in Washington.
I've loved watching Trae Young at certain times, Peyton. You're from the Baltimore, Washington area. I'm assuming the Wizards are your NBA team, yes?
I root for him, yeah.
Okay. Are you happy about this trade?
I mean, this is just like what we saw with Jordan Poole, and Trae Young's just a classic 2026 Washington Wizard. He can take as many shots as he wants, whenever he wants to, and he plays zero defense. It couldn't be more perfect for him, and he's going to get $45 million a year to do it. I'm really jealous of Trae Young getting to do what he gets to do now.
It's fascinating because you never talk about championships when you're talking about Trae Young. You never talk about winning when you talk about Trae Young, but yet these teams and these owners and these GMs, Raphael, they'll give him $45 million a year because he is flashy and he is fun to watch. So this is a perfect example where winning is not even talked about in this trade. Not even talked about. It's just about how good is Trae Young for the Wizards.
It's crazy. January 8th, we're talking about Trae Young, the Washington Wizards, and Anthony Davis, because that's who the Wizards are going to target now is Anthony Davis. Is this 2015? I have no idea what Washington's doing, but I guess to sell jerseys and put people in the seats, Young and Davis can do that.
I guess it's important. I really, really do. But, man, at some point, I want to see a shift away from just paying talent and putting together teams that can win championships. All right, tonight, guys, there's only 4 games on the docket, and one of them potentially DG could be an NBA Finals matchup. The Cavs are starting to play a little bit better. T-Wolves are starting to play a little bit better. T-Wolves favored by 2.5 at home. A robust, I would play the under here based off the last couple of nights. What do you make of this matchup tonight? 8:10 p.m. Eastern time.
I love the under as well, Coach. And I look at this team and the matchups and how do they match up on the court. And I love how Minnesota matches up and pairs with this Cleveland team because they do have the size. You have Jared Allen on one side of Cleveland, but also Rudy Gobert with Minnesota. You have the size, you have the athleticism. And so at that point, I'm going to take the better player and the best player on the court, and that's going to be Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. Peyton, what about you?
Cleveland looks great right now with Evan Mobley back out there. I think a lot of people forgot about that, and he's finally healthy. He adds so much on both sides of the ball. Defensively, you're back to having Mobley and Jared Allen protecting the paint. Pretty tough to get to the basket if you're driving on either one of those guys, let alone both of them. And offensively, he's been putting up threes, which he probably shouldn't be shooting, but he's coming off a 20-point game against Indiana. He looks great, and the Cavs are back to 21-17. I like Cleveland tonight.
Raphael, are the books kind of lagging behind what the points have been doing lately?
Yeah, you're starting to see more unders come in, a.k.a. the Charlotte Hornets game yesterday. Didn't want to bring that up. But, yeah, I love the under in this matchup. But Mobley is going to be big key tonight. And when whoever wins this game, look at the box score. Whoever wins the rebounding game tonight wins the game. With Mobley back, it's not a shoe-in that Minnesota is going to win that board game. It's going to be very interesting who crashes the boards because that's the reason why who wins the game.
All right, 1 of 4 games tonight on the NBA hardwood. All right, it is now time to recap our best bets for the day, and we're going to have a bounce-back day. I can feel it. Let's lock it in. All right, DG, 10 seconds or less, 1 or 2 nuggets. It's all that I need. Start us off.
These numbers are out of whack. We're going first half. Pacers, Hornets over the 112.5. I love this. 2 teams that don't play defense. And then the other side, Heat and the Bulls. First half under 124.5 at -115. I like this to stay under. Even in the game 70-52, they still went under last time.
Young Peyton, you're up.
I'm taking Ole Miss tonight. I think Trinidad Chambliss has a big game and beats Miami. And Oregon basketball is a hot mess right now. Ohio State has been a lot more battle-tested this year. I like the Buckeyes as road dogs tonight.
All right, on the road in Eugene. I'm going to go next. I'm focused on the college football playoff game tonight. And I don't think that Miami defense is going to be as good against this Ole Miss offense and vice versa. So I think it'll be at least 7-7 in the first quarter, maybe 6-7. Either way, we catch that -102. Then Miami, Ole Miss over 6.5 total touchdowns. 28-21 would get the job done. Remember, Ole Miss scored 39 against a Georgia team that had held 4 straight opponents to 10 points or less. They will really get to this Miami defense tonight. Raphael, bring us home.
Ole Miss team total over 23.5. Grab this now because 2 books just moved a total to 53. I can see this one going up to 24.5 or even 25.5. And don't forget, Ole Miss has hit this number every game this year. And then give me college basketball, Long Beach State, UC Irvine over 142. UC Irvine's averaging 87 points per game in every win they have this year.
The Anteaters getting it done. They talk about the Anteaters all the time. Young Peyton on the Sports Lodge, 3 to 7 local time on ESPN radio in Southern California. All right, Raphael, please make me smarter.
We're going to the Fiesta Bowl because the Ole Miss Rebels have won each of their last 15 games against non-conference opponents, and we're getting +3.5.
Wow, that's an incredible stat. That's an incredible 15 straight. 15 straight. Wow. So the final question is, because sometimes, the stories will get to a point where you're just like, man, I'm tired of the story. Somehow Lane Kiffin, DG, continues to make this fresh. Do you think he tweets during the game tonight?
100%. Where is that market where I can say yes, because that's 100% happening?
Raphael?
I will have that prop bet sometime today. How many tweets during the game will Lane Kiffin do? I just need to figure out the verbiage so I don't get people. So that prop will be. I'll send it to you guys.
I think you should say how many posts. Use the word post tonight, because that could be Instagram, that could be Twitter, that could be Facebook.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
You're welcome. Young Peyton, your thoughts on Lane Kiffin and how into the game he will be tonight?
Oh yeah, I think his number would be at 2.5, 3.5 Twitter posts, right? I mean, that's like Roger Lodge numbers right there. During the game, just posting away, laying back on the couch, you know. But have you guys seen Prize Pick stuff too? You can bet on like literally anything. You could bet on yes, it just says yes or no on Prize Picks, and it's will the announcers say this word, and it's just like random words throughout the. It's pretty insane, actually. I just saw that.
I wonder if you can bet on selfish, egotistical, narcissist. You think you think Chris Fowler? Is it Fowler tonight, or is it McDonough and McElroy tonight? I haven't seen. I love McDonough. I love McDonough. I think probably Herb Street probably have those guys doing the number one team Indiana tomorrow. I would guess. All right, gentlemen, well done today. Of course, tomorrow we'll have full coverage of the game tonight, recapping, and also Oregon, Indiana. Look forward to that on our Friday episode. It's now time for you to go out into the world, but not quite yet, because we have another full hour coming out of BTT Studios right here on Stadium with the Coach and Bro Show. You don't want to go anywhere. In the meantime, there's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these Thursday tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire team, love them all. My guy, Raphael, my man, DG, young Peyton, and producer man and Mikey P, always behind the scenes, making the show look like $1 million. We grind for you so we can win with you is what we're all about every single day. It's Coaching Company, and we love being a part of the Stadium Network, Amazon Prime, DirecTV, and YouTube TV. Good luck today. We'll see you tomorrow.